Hi everybody, welcome to Paper Wishes weekly webisodes. I'm Lene Gehrig, and today from our friends at Hardy Crafts, I've got easy 3D toppers. Each one is 3 layers. There's 10 designs, and they have little glitter bits on them. They're so fun to use. They're one of my favorite products. Here's one where you can see the little glitter details on it. And this one, I just sort of spread out the pieces. I didn't layer them traditionally. This is our giveaway card for this episode, you guys. So if you stick around, you'll learn how one lucky viewer could win this card to keep or share with a friend. So come play with us. All right, I'm going to start with this one, you guys. This has 2 of the toppers. And in a minute, I'm going to show you how to put them together. But you can use one of the little toppers or you can use 2 of them together. And I only used 2 of the layers on these 2, okay? And then the 3rd layer, the top layer, I put on the inside of my card. So this is just a little slimline, 8.5 by 3 inches. And then I actually cut it, let's see, about 3 and almost 3.5 inches from the right, okay? Just made a little cut there with my paper trimmer, and then covered both of those panels with some solid red cardstock. Then used Joyful Christmas 6x6 pattern cardstock to do just a different color on each one of the panels. So you've got the red plaid, the green plaid, and then layered these up with foam tape. So you have the 2 layers on this one with the candle, and then 2 layers of the little bird, cute. And then this one, you guys, this side, I actually glued this side down, okay? So it's just stationary. And then I used on this one, these are called Large Merry Christmas Dazzle stickers, and they're kind of a focal greeting. And there's 1, 2, 3, and you can see they're kind of in this little pyramid, almost tree shape. This, okay? Really fun. I took the stars from the same sheet, put them all around, and then I took the snowflakes that are on the sheet. I put them on the little center of the flowers and then one on the center of the candle. So cute. This leftover strips of paper went right here. That one was a fun one to make. So let's take a look at what we've got in here. There's 10 different designs. Each one has 3 layers, and they're all individually packaged. They're die cut. They're ready to go. These are fantastic. They're all in a theme. So we've got this vintage Santa, and then when we get to the next card, I'm going to take one out and build it with you. But here's a Santa in his chair looking over his sack of toys. Okay, oh, a little angel, another Santa and a reindeer. Here's just a collection of toys with roller skates, teddy bear, nutcracker, little car. Here's a little angel with Santa making his list. Here is a beautiful little carousel. Here is the little birds that I used on my card. Here's a little vintage snowman with the trees and the lamppost. And then here is the little candlestick with the flower arrangement around it that I also used. All right, so let's move on to this card, is what I showed you in the opening. And this one, you guys, comes from, here is a whole pack of Santas. Maybe we can just zoom in on this so I don't have to take them all out. But you've got this little Santa sort of in a frame. This one has Santa with a little lantern. One Santa in a wreath. Santa with a little cluster, like a bell and flowers. More flowers here. Santa with the gifts. Santa with more flowers. Santa with packages. Santa in a frame again with more flowers around it. And then here's Santa with like pine boughs and pine cones and a poinsettia. Okay. And then here is the one. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to do something a little tricky here. I'm going to actually pull out the one I used with, no, I can't do that one. Sorry, back up. All right, you guys, we're going to take out the 3 layers. It's a different Santa. All right, so you've got 3 layers, Santa with his packages. All right, on this one, Santa is complete. And then on this one, you just have sort of portions of Santa. And you line up the image and put it like this. And then here's just the packages. So how we do that is, you can use these little foam squares that we sell at Paper Wishes. This one has little tiny squares. They're They're double stick layers of foam. They're die cut. They have little pieces of paper on them you can peel off. This one has 100 squares. They're slightly larger. And I'll put both of these down below the video in all the items that we used. Debbie and I prefer to use a giant wheel of foam tape. This is 150 feet or 50 yards of 1/2 inch wide continuous foam tape. We like this one simply because we go through a ton of foam tape. And if we had to peel off all the little squares, it wouldn't be a productive day. So we're going to go ahead and, here's the end of this one. Here it is. This is how we generally do this. Just clip a little bit. You can attach this to your desk. You can cut them in half. You can cut them in thirds, whatever you would like. And then normally I just have a little strip like this. You could stick it to your desk wherever you're working, and you don't need to add a ton of these little pieces. Usually I add them around the edges to keep those like supported. That's really all you need. You're just giving these a little lift. And you know, some might say, well, why don't you just do one piece? I can absolutely just do one piece. But I do like to leave the edges supported so they don't kind of dip down. And then I find one area, like the bottom edge here, and then align that, and then I look at another area before I stick it down completely, and I align that, and that seems to work really nicely. So now you've got a little bit of dimension. And then we're going to do the same thing on this one. 2 pieces is plenty here. Okay, and then this one's the little packages. We're just going to align that right there. And there you have your little 3D looking card focal or scrapbooking, whatever you want to use with it. All right, so for this particular card, instead of taking all of those layers and putting them all together at once, I wanted to kind of spread them out. And it works well with something like this because it's very plausible that Santa would have 2 lanterns to light his space instead of 1. So that works out well. And then the poinsettias, we're just spreading those around. So let me tell you first about this 6x6 card. I used Poinsettia Passion 12x12 pattern cardstock, and I used one that had a very nice border on it. So I used this one right here that's black. It's actually the one right here. I took this black one and I just turned it upside down, and I used this much of the border. Oops, this much of the border, just like that. And then I matted that with a little bit of the green paper that's also in here. It's on the back side of one of these. I used that green and then cut that a little bit smaller than my card, glued down the poinsettia paper, and then I used some red jewel border dazzle stickers, these little thin ones, which are so nice. They just peel right off. Added them along just the outside edges, and then this little border right here, you guys, is from our red, here we go, it's stuck in here, our red brushed diamond paper. It comes with 4 sheets. It's beautiful. It's like a glittery texture, but it doesn't, there's no glitter that's going to come off on your hand. And yeah, I just used that to mat just a little piece of kind of a scrap piece of ivory kind of tile paper that is also in this paper pack. I did ink the edges of that before gluing it down, and I used a little bit of khaki ink. Here we go. And just used my little applicator tool for that. Then I glued it to this red diamond paper, and then I took the one layer and I glued it here. Then the middle layer I foam taped right down below it. And then the final layer was just this little poinsettia, and I went ahead and foam taped that off to the side. So they're kind of all overlapping, so it spreads the scene out a little bit better. And you can see here, there's not quite as much of a thickness in the 3D elements. So if mailing that is an issue for you, you want to have it be a little bit more compressed, that works. Then I just took a little bit of the 1/8 inch ribbon and I just glued that little bow right there. Some little red jewel dazzle stickers, and it's so nice just to be able to use a little jewel picker for that to pull these right off. the sheet. This jewel picker has a large end and then a small end. You just place it right on there. You just kind of stir it around and they lift right off on this, and then you place them just like that. So you guys, this is our giveaway for this episode, and how that works is we're trying to promote our Paper Wishes YouTube channel. So if you expand the screen, if you're watching us on our Paper Wishes webisode channel, you'll see a YouTube icon, and if you click on that, it'll take you to our YouTube channel, and then we ask that you subscribe, give this video there a thumbs up, and leave us a comment. And then we will reply to everyone's comment. Thank you so much for watching, that kind of thing. And then after about a week, we'll reply to one person's comment by saying, congratulations, YouTube username blank. So you gotta know your YouTube username. And then we give you instructions on how to claim your card. And we do this every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday webisodes. So you could participate 3 different times. We're only going to choose you 1 time, but you need to watch and participate for all 3 of those videos to have a chance at your card. So yeah, we hope you participate. It's fun to give those away. All right, so you guys, we have another one to show you. This one, you guys, this one's teddy bears. Okay, why teddy bears in with all the Christmas? I think these are really sweet to just do year round, but I wanted to make, because these are for sort of like winter cards, I wanted to make a get well card using the teddy bear with a little cup of tea and some flowers, because in the winter there's always somebody who's sick, right? Some friend needs a little pick-me-up. So not only that, these are great for birthdays year round. So we just slipped this collection in here. So if you can see here, you've got Teddy reading a book with a little cuppa right there. This is the one that I used. Here's one with a birthday candle. Here's a little family of 3. Here's 2 with some roses. Over here, here's a little couple. Here's a little bike rider. Here's one with a bouquet. Here's one that's sewing. And here's one that has some flowers. Super versatile little card focals for just everyday occasions. So for this one, you guys, this is a 6.5 by 5 inch card. And I used our 6x6 watercolor wildflowers, and I used the little plaid one that's right here. I also used the border that's off of this yellow one, and I just trimmed it right off and glued it right across the center. Well, actually first, I took the pink paper and I just centered it right on the card. Now the card is a 1/2 inch bigger than the paper, so you just have some nice borders right here. And then I glued my little yellow border strip across that. I wanted to add some little lacy touches, so my favorite set of dazzles, white fancy border dazzle stickers. They are so sweet. I love this little scallop edge one. Just peel them off just like that. And then at the top, the bottom, and then on the edges of this yellow border, then you guys, there's a doily right here. And that is from our new, these are white lace doily stickers. And I used this large one. I actually took another piece of this pink plaid and I adhered this to the pink plaid, and then I just took my tiny little scissors and I cut that out. So it just has a little mat of pink behind it. I glued that to my card. I assembled my little teddy bear with my foam tape, and I glued that right over the doily. And so I think he just looks very sweet. And then the Get Well, that is from our We're Together Dazzle sticker collection, which is just a fantastic collection for just happy little friendship things. We developed these during the pandemic when people were sending so many like thinking of you and missing our time together. And we just thought, you know, we need some of sentiments like that. But you know what? Because we have them, they just worked so great for just because stickers, or just because cards rather. And you get all of these colors, and then there's 2 different styles. There's one that's a little bit more like horizontal, and then there's some that are stacked, so they're a little bit better for like vertical things. You know what I mean by that? When you have like a place that you need to put it, and you could either put something tall here or you could put something wide here. All right, so there you go. There's another idea. Okay, the last one, where did I put it? It's snowmen. Look at these snowmen. They're so adorable. They have a sort of a vintage feel as well. So for these, you have the snowman in the doorway. Here's a couple. Here's another couple. Here's another couple. The snow people apparently are just all paired up. So then there's another one with flowers, another one with a little Christmas tree. Here's a little family of 4. Here is a little snowman with little snow kids. Here's a little couple, and here's another little family. So cute, the Snowman family. So for that one, I wanted to make, we have a new cutting die out, you guys. This is the Circle stand-up card cutting die, and it works like this. I made my circle a little window right here, and it just stands up just like this. And then on the back, I just put a little bit of white cardstock and ink the edges of that so you'd have a nice little place to write a little sentiment. But I noticed on the back here that because I made a window with snowflake acetate, which I'm going to show you in a minute, then you can see my foam tape. So I took another snowman couple and I assembled those with foam tape as well. It's not a perfect fit, but you could just put that right there and put it over so you would have something on the front and something on the back. So it's just not so sort of bare like that, okay? So let me tell you how to make these. First of all, I used for my little base piece here, this is the Christmas floral plaids, which we love, it's brand new. And I used this plaid right here. And the cutting die, you guys, comes with 9 different cutting dies. Let me get this all out of here and show you. First of all, there are written instructions and then pictures to show you how to put it all together, which is really great. Here's all the little pieces. So this is the base piece right here. And this one you would put on a piece of folded paper. And so you would take the fold and put it right here and then run it through your die cutting machine. And that's when you get this piece right here. See how it's folded now at the top? Then you want to take this little piece at the bottom because you need to have it not kind of splay apart, right? So that little piece is right here. And you could die cut that out of just white cardstock, whatever, it's really not going to show. So that piece has little score lines on it, and you just fold it, and then you put the little flaps at the each end, and you glue those there, and then it just stands upright just like that. Holds everything together. And then the next part is you get this little, these 2 circle dies. So this one has a smaller opening, and this is the piece that you would die cut and it would fit right inside of it. So I took this piece for my frames right here, and I die cut 2 of these. So you have 2 frames, this. And then this piece right here, this piece you're die cutting from, in my case, snowflake acetate. Okay, it has all these little snowflakes, and it's nice and sturdy acetate. And then you would, when you go ahead and you would die cut that. Oops, where am I going to put that? There we go. You would die cut that. So in this case, this is snowflake acetate, and you would just glue it to one side, just like that. And then you would just take this and then glue that right there. Remember, here's your little window. And then you take this piece right here and you glue it over that edge. You have a nice finished edge on both sides, and it still kind of opens up just like that. All right? And then you've got all these little pieces like friend and happy birthday. So you could do, of course, happy birthday friend, or you could just do a little friend card. And in my case, I did Merry Christmas friend, and I die cut my friend out of green glitter cardstock. This is the kind where it's glittery, but it's not coming off all over the place. I think it's called No Shed. It's really nice. And it die cuts beautifully. And then this piece right here, you guys, this is from our red brushed diamond paper. This diamond paper is really beautiful. It is also No Shed. It's a little trickier to die cut. I would recommend sandwiching it between 2 pieces of paper when you're die cutting acetate, okay? Normally it just cuts regular paper just fine, but if you're cutting acetate or you're cutting this paper, this glitter cardstock, you want just something to help you get through those layers. For some reason, putting it between 2 layers of scrap cardstock just makes it die cut so much more easily. And then I used, for my little Christmas part, these are, I think it's 120 Merry Christmas Dazzle stickers. They come in red, black, white, green, gold, silver, so many colors. And they have all of these beautiful gold etching on them. So I, of course, used the Merry Christmas and then Friend, and then just a few little bits of, right here, red jewel border dazzle stickers. And finally, these are little white snowflakes that you can get by the sheet. These are little white snowflake dazzles. Put those all around here and on the acetate. So yeah, that was fun. And then don't forget, on the back, just inked that with a little bit of red ink, and then added some of the little scraps that I had left over of dazzle stickers right there. It gives you a nice little place to write. Okay, you guys, that was a fun one. Let me move all of this apart. So we have a fantastic collection on these. These are always really popular because they're so fun to work with, and the images are so well done. The die cutting is spot on. There's no white edges. It's just beautifully put together. I love that they're individually packaged. In fact, I even use those little packages. I recycle them and I put beads and things in them when I'm traveling and I want to craft. Okay, you guys, so the money saver right there on the right-hand side. Definitely take advantage of that. Everything else is listed down below if you're interested in this or that or one particular pack of these 3D toppers. If you're watching us over on YouTube, then just look below the video in the description box and there's a link that'll take you to this Paper Wishes webisode page and you can check out the money saver and all the card ideas. Thanks for joining me today, you guys. See you in the next one.